Hey everyone, how are you doing? It's Craig Campbell from Pastor Craig's Vintage Cards, and boy, today we have got an interesting player to look at. Joe Christopher in this 1961 Topps, an outfielder with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And not a bad looking card, in pretty good shape centering. And for that set, that issue of card, that's pretty remarkable. And if you look, you can see that Joe, card number 82, he'd been playing ball for a little while, 1955 in the Arizona Mexican League, and then 1955 in the minor leagues. Excuse me. But the thing to really notice on this is his home, St. Croix, Virgin Islands. And that will be part of Joe Christopher's story, is that he is born in the Virgin Islands, and he is one of only 16 Major League Baseball players to have been born in the Virgin Islands. Now, how did he get to America? How did he get to play in baseball? Well, in 1954, the National Baseball Congress, they had a team from the Virgin Islands that traveled all the way to Wichita, Kansas, and they played in a tournament in Wichita in 1954, and that is where Joe was spotted by a Pittsburgh Pirates scout. And lo and behold, he was signed to the Pirates. And he toiled through the minor leagues and played winter ball throughout the years. And he was in Double A in 1957, Triple A in 1958, and then he made his major league debut on May 26th of 1959. And that debut happened because this outfielder, Roberto Clemente, was injured. And so Clemente was injured, and so they called up Joe, and he made his debut. And it just so happened to be that his debut was during Harvey Haddock's near perfect 12-inning game that I believe he lost to Warren Spahn. And the home run that Joe Adcock hit actually went over Joe Christopher's head into the outfield seats. There were some that said that Roberto Clemente would have jumped up to made the catch. Joe claims there is no way that the ball was well out of reach of anybody. So that was how he made his major league debut, which is quite interesting. And he ended up backing up Roberto Clemente in the outfield, as well as Bob Skinner, who was the other outfielder. Or I'm sorry, Bill Verdon, who was the other outfielder. And you can guess which card is coming next. Yes, Bob Skinner. And kind of interesting, they're all 1961. I wanted to make sure to pull those. And Skinner, Verdon, and of course the great Roberto Clemente, or as I guess you'd say, Roberto Clemente. I got to get my tongue rolls right. But anyways, I think it's pretty interesting that he backed him up and got his major league debut because of that. And in the 1960 World Series season, he got a little bit of time to play. He had, I think, like 61 plate appearances during the regular season, but during the World Series, he got into 3 games, all as a pinch runner, and he managed to score 2 runs in the World Series. And his roommate on the road was none other than Roberto Clemente. They were roommates. And what's interesting then is that he was signed with the 5th overall pick in the expansion draft by the New York Mets. And so Joe was one of the original amazing Mets. And he was their 5th overall pick. He had a couple of decent seasons. They were so-so with the Mets back and forth in the minor leagues. But finally, in 1964, he had his breakout season where he had hit 300 and had 16 home runs, 76 RBI. He scored 78 runs. He had 163 hits with 26 doubles and 8 triples, all in the 154-game season. So he really had a spectacular career year in 1964. And as a matter of fact, according to the Society of Baseball Research, no Virgin Island player has ever had a better year than Joe Christopher had in 1964. After the 65 season, he was traded to the Red Sox. And of June of 1966, he was traded to the Detroit Tigers, but he never did play for Detroit. And his last Major League appearance was with the Red Sox on June 9th of 1966. Joe, he ended up playing in 638 games in the major leagues. He had a career average of 260 with 29 home runs and 173 RBI. He did have one 5-hit game in his career, and he had 8 4-hit games in his career. And as far as being from the Virgin Islands, there just was not a whole lot of players, only 16, and he managed to play with Horace Clarke. This is a 1967 Horace Clarke card. And Joe played sandlot ball with Horace in the Virgin Islands, and as well as this fella, Al McBean, who ended up going to the Pirates as well, and was scouted by the same scout in the Virgin Islands. But Joe played with Al and Horace in the Virgin Islands, and these are 3 of the 16 players that made it to the major leagues from the Virgin Islands. But quite an interesting story for Joe Christopher. And he talked about how good of a man Roberto Clemente was. Just a great, great man who cared so deeply about people. And Joe had great memories of him. Joe Christopher died just a few years ago on October 3rd, 2023. And so that is the story of Joe Christopher. An interesting ball player. And a nice smile on his face. Okay, excuse me, I had to pause the video there. I forgot to look up Joe's baseball card, and this is his rookie card. This 1961 is his rookie card. He had a card issued in 63, 64, 65, and then 66 was his last card issued. So this is his rookie card. Didn't have one in 62, but had one in 63, 4, 5, and 6. So that is the story behind the cardboard for one Joe Christopher, a Virgin Island player, one of only 16 MLB players, and had the greatest season ever by a Virgin Island player, and is a 1960 world champion, member of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And quite the story for a guy from the Virgin Islands. 638 games, and had that one great, great year with the 1964 Mets, hitting 300, 16 home runs, 163 hits, with 76 RBI. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I sure did enjoy looking up information on Joe. I had no idea about him, and I hope you enjoyed these type videos. If you do, please leave a comment, give it a like and a subscribe, and share the video if you would. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the hobby.